again, the Soviet Union takes...
On December 2nd, 1971, the Soviet team's first human-made space probe landed on Mars, the Red Planet. 110 seconds later, it transmitted a grey, blurry image that soon faded and died. Ironically, on the very same day in 1971, in a desert on planet Earth, the United Arab Emirates was born. And so was an ambitious vision for progress. No one could have imagined that their dreams would be so great and so bold. No one could have ever known that in less than 50 years, a nation would look to the stars. And this nation would be sending a spacecraft into outer space to reach Mars. It was an enormous challenge with high risks. But on February 9th, 2021, a nation held its breath as their cities flushed red in the glow of their hopes. The world waited to hear if this small spacecraft called Hope, carrying the ambitions and dreams of a nation, traveling 493.5 million kilometers through deep space, was going to succeed. Mars is the red planet, the hostile planet, the barren planet, bearing no life with a thin, dissipated atmosphere unable to trap heat. Once upon a time, water once flowed across Mars. There was a rich atmosphere and possibly the building blocks of life. Then, 4 billion years ago, an event changed Mars's fate, causing the planet to become nothing more than a cold, barren desert, lashed by dust storms that rise up and shroud the entire surface.
The idea of Mars mission started actually 7 years ago, 2013 December, and one of the concepts was how we're going to celebrate 2021. One of the most beautiful ideas came is, let's celebrate this journey by going to Mars. This is, for me, it's a human journey. This is what civilization can do at the end of the day. So for us, we are moving this mission, and it was built in a desert, and it's moving to another desert, which is a Mars desert. And hopefully, this can inspire youth in this part of the world.
The satellite was to be called Hope. The goal of the Emirates Mars mission was to build the most comprehensive picture of the Martian atmosphere in a way that had never been done before. The journey began in 2006, when a small group of young Emiratis left the UAE to arrive in South Korea to be part of what was to be a technology transfer program. Within a few years, the team had gained crucial experience and knowledge, and they had designed 3 groundbreaking satellites. Their space programs gaining momentum. By 2019, they had sent their first astronaut, Hazza al-Mansouri, to the ISS. But now the biggest challenge lay ahead. They were to embark on a journey into deep space, within a time period, to reach Mars. The Mars Hope probe had to be designed to survive extreme forces and function in an exceedingly harsh environment. For the probe to voyage to Mars, it would have to accelerate with an escape velocity of over 40,000 kilometers an hour to escape Earth's gravity. It would then have to be resilient enough to travel across the solar system at speeds more than 126,000 kilometers per hour. In short, the journey to Mars was harrowing, and the young team with no interplanetary travel experience had to collaborate and build on the knowledge of those who had gone to Mars before. A trailblazing team of 200 Emirati engineers set off on an adventure to the Colorado University Laboratory of Atmospheric and Space Physics to build the spacecraft Hope. The team had to understand the glitches that they might face and the hazards of space travel. Space was unforgiving, unpredictable, and dangerous. The spacecraft was now successfully moved from Colorado to Dubai for the final testing processes. From Dubai, Hope would be transferred to the launch site on the Japanese island of Tanegashima. The team's questions were soon answered, as the unthinkable consequences of the pandemic unfolded rapidly. The world watched in disbelief as COVID swept through China and then beyond its borders. It seemed to be an alarming and complicated disease. The outbreak was considered an international emergency. Countries were now imposing lockdowns on their citizens, and travelers were barred from entering. Flights were stopped, and the Mars mission appeared to be fighting the odds to survive. The spacecraft was sealed in a special container and carefully and slowly transported in a lorry from the Space Center to the airport. This 45-minute journey now took 12 hours in order to minimize any bumps to the satellite. Hope was going to arrive ahead of schedule in Japan to ensure it would make the launch window from July 14th to August 3rd. A specialized team accompanied the probe. They now had 80 days to prepare the spacecraft for takeoff. The road to Mars remained full of hard challenges. The team would soon have to make some even tougher choices. Once the spacecraft reached its final destination, the team performed the final checks and prepared the vehicle for its takeoff. But now another great challenge lay ahead. This time, it was the weather. The team had outsmarted technical and logistical hurdles, but the weather was something they could not control. A delay like this would mean the mission would be postponed for 2 more years. It was touch and go whether Hope would manage to launch. The weather continued to be unpredictable. The small window to launch the satellite was closing. Time was disappearing. A nation's dream was slipping. And then the clouds cleared and there was that moment of possibility. There was tension. Everyone was acutely aware of the small window of opportunity to launch the spacecraft. The Emirates Mars mission had to leave Earth during a relatively brief launch window. And this is because Earth and Mars were now close to each other. An alignment that would only happen every 2 years. After separation, there is the deployment of the solar panels. There is a sigh of relief as Hope starts its journey to Mars. This is the culmination of a 7-year effort. Working with 200 engineers and researchers, ahead of the spacecraft lies a 493.5 million kilometer journey, full of unknowns and perils. But the team are very confident things are going well. On a metal piece of the probe is written the power of hope shortens the distance between Earth and sky. On it is the flag with the slogan, "The impossible is possible." So everything is on track. And the team hope that the craft will enter orbit on February the 9th. 7 months later, the 493.5 million kilometer journey is about to be either victorious and lead the UAE to new frontiers in deep space, or end. Everyone knows that Mars has been a graveyard for many missions.
On August 20th, 1975, the first Viking spaceship. 2 weeks later, there was a second Viking launch. Together,
The history of Mars exploration is riddled with failures. There are many what-ifs. What if Hope misses orbit? What if Hope flies past Mars into deep space? The UAE space team at Mission Control is prepared for all outcomes. In the UAE, now glowing red to celebrate their ambitions, tensions run high as the probe prepares itself for the Mars orbit insertion. For the next 27 minutes, the spacecraft performs a complex braking maneuver to position itself for the critical orbit entry process. The burn begins. The Delta V thrusters now fire full steam, and the probe decelerates. In 27 minutes, the craft descends into Mars' orbit. And for 15 minutes, a nation holds its breath. Then a signal confirms success. A wave of victory and pride washes over the UAE. A nation looks up at the stars, like they did for thousands of years. They see Mars, they see space. Their dreams are infinite. This is just the beginning.